Thank you for staying with us. Information, communication, and technology is undoubtedly a significant sector all across the world. Many government organizations are embracing ICT as a tool for transforming and improving public service and effective governance at all levels. It has proven to be sustainable and reliable in contributing to several countries' growth, acting as a key catalyst in driving productivity in sectors like agriculture, education, manufacturing, healthcare, amongst others. ICT also offers for job opportunities, which significantly contributes to the economic state of a country, reducing poverty rates drastically. As a new dispensation under the President-elect, Bola Tinubu prepares to commence its first national assignment for the next 4 years, following an endorsement by the Nigerian people. There is no better time to initiate this new journey in promoting a new digitization agenda than now. Joining us in the studio is a tech and digital infrastructure expert and MD CEO, Citigrade Technologies Limited, Elder Tunde Oladipo. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Nice being here.
Right. There are those who would say that this current administration has done a lot with regards to the ICT sector, so much so that so far, the ICT sector contributed 17.47% to Nigeria's GDP in the first quarter of this year, which is an increase from the previous year. But that is not to say that there are no bottlenecks, and that has to be addressed. And help us understand better what perhaps we could have done differently to perhaps increase the contribution to our GDP and the bottlenecks we need to look into for the coming administration.
It's good that we're progressing. The GDP is increasing. And like I always say, technology costs money. And the more you put in, the more you get out of it. However, at this stage where we are, it's not just funding. You need to put the funding in the right perspective, in the right sectors, for the right technology, and for the right talents. Because talent growing, the growth of talent is very key in technology. For example, in those days when we used to write in COBOL language, there are just maybe 10,000 software developers in the whole of Nigeria. Today, I can assure you there are more than 1 million who write softwares in fintech, in oil and gas, everywhere. So the GDP will continue to increase if we continue in this trajectory, especially if we take it as seriously as we have. NITDA has been doing a great job, and I think in the coming years, they will do even much better.
Digital inclusion is a major concern. We saw it replicated during, the cash crunch saga that Nigeria, experienced. How that, people in the rural areas and even in the urban areas, had a tough time navigating the currency swap and the nightmares that it ensued. I should say. But what booby traps do you think can be avoided in the incoming administration using that lesson or using that experience as a template?
You started with digital inclusion, and you cannot have financial inclusion unless you have digital inclusion from digital literacy. If we do not have proper digital literacy, we may not be able to have proper digital inclusion, especially in the difficult terrains. Back to what happened the last time, part of the problem is that we just didn't have data. For example, I always said that those days you could know how much currency is in which bank. You could know how much new notes are in which bank. These are data that we could gather. So you can't get to a bank and the bank manager tells you, we don't have money. Because you can find it. You can actually find that, well, maybe for security purposes, you don't have the exact quantum of money, but you know that social bank and social branch in social locations have money. We didn't do that. So, like you said, the booby trap was that everybody was blank. The only people who knew anything about anything was central bank themselves. Because when you talk to the bankers will say that we don't have money, and they do not know when they will have money. So those are the kind of things that, however, in technology, in future, we should pay less attention to cash transactions. When we pay much less attention to cash transactions, if there's no money in the bank, one of the states in the north tried it, that the money you have, continue using it, don't take it back to the bank. However, do more online transactions. And I think the more of that we do, the better for everyone. So whatever booby traps.
But we saw what's happened even during the period of
Yes.
the cash crunch, talking about transactions.
Yes.
There were several failed transactions. I was a victim. It
I was
took
too.
14 days before the bank could, refund that money to me. And so if we want to do more of that, do we have the infrastructure? That is where the matter of infrastructure comes in.
Exactly.
No matter the number of e-commerce facility we have or businesses who can carry out this transaction, if the right infrastructure is not in place, we might witness what it is we witnessed during that period. Talk to us about
It's
infrastructure.
so true. The banks, from the little analysis I did, they underestimated the volume of transactions. For example, a bank that has maybe 10 million accounts, 10 million active accounts, suddenly finds out that because in the past, only 1 million used to do the digital form of transaction. But during that time, it exploded to about 5 million. It was as if they never anticipated it was going to happen like that. So they didn't prepare infrastructure-wise. However, during that time, in fact, it happened to me. There was my account officer, I called her one day and said, I tried to log in 94 times unsuccessfully. She had nothing to say because she knew that there was infrastructure deficit in their bank. However, after a while, they woke up. Some of the banks increased and improved. In technology, you must always have scalability. If you have 10 systems, for example, and you know that in future you might require more transactions or more things to be done on those 10 systems, you can scale them without bringing down the entire infrastructure to like 15 to 20 or to 30, depending on the anticipated traffic that you expected. So, as you said, technology infrastructure is extremely key. It's extremely key for us in all sectors, the oil and gas.
How would you want the
banking.
incoming administration to address that?
Yes. First, I said earlier that technology costs money. We need to fund infrastructure. That's one. We also need to fund education. A lot of people I was listening to the professor talking about the percentage of our active population that are out of job. And I can tell you, there is already a process whereby we do what is called digital literacy. If we start digital literacy at the right time, I think the papers are in the presidency already. We start digital literacy at the right time. Everyone.
When is the right time?
Today. We'll start it today. And we create the environment, appropriate environment for us to be able to ensure that digital literacy reaches the very, very, very most disadvantaged sectors of our country. So with that, the new administration can start developing in the area of banking and finance, in the area of oil and gas, in the area of security, in the area of education, especially. For me, digital literacy should start from primary school, as early as primary school, so that, in fact, a subject called digital literacy should be at par with English and mathematics. When you say you cannot move forward to JAMB unless you pass digital literacy and you pass English and you pass mathematics, if we put it at that pedestal, then everyone will take it a lot more seriously. And the snowball effect is that things will start getting better and improving. So when you fund infrastructure, you will reap the reward. Because there are times when you fund a project, you don't get any returns from it. And if the people are not well educated in that sector, in that area, you will never get the returns that you expected.
And talking about job creation, it's also been said that the ICT sector is a very good place to generate jobs, and Bola Tinubu also said something about him creating about 1 million jobs within that sector within 2 years.
Yes.
How feasible is it? Is this desire?
It is very, very feasible. I'm surprised it's coming from somebody who's not in tech. India is the biggest outsourced destination in the world. When US have technology jobs, they will outsource it to India because an American will request for $100 per hour, and an Indian guy will do it for 70 or even 50. Now, if we want to be part of that game, we need to train our people such that even if they offer us 50, we will take and be part of that. Now, if we train as many people as possible, it's talking of 1 million, we have a proposal that we can train 15 million every year. We can train 15 million young people every year and ensure that they are gainfully employed. They are looking for IT people everywhere, all over the world. In China, they have a deficit of 16%. In UK, they have a deficit of 23%. In US, they have a deficit of like 69%. So if we train our people, we will get jobs. Their jobs are waiting all over the world for tech people. That is the situation. So if we invest in our people, we invest not just in infrastructure, but in the people, in the training, especially the training, then we can repeat in 4, 5, 6, 7 years.
He is looking at focusing on leveraging blockchain technology, and that it has this security and accountability features. If you could just explain that to us as how that will create jobs for a lot of persons, about 1 million of them. Just break it down for us.
The blockchain technology is a new innovation that helps to get better integrity, better record keeping, better processing than in the past. Now, the platforms on which they are done or in which they are implemented are a lot more universally accepted.
Right.
So the more people that get into it, the better for everyone. So with 3 months, 6 months training, you can get into blockchain technology as a developer or as a designer and so on. So it helps us too. Aside of that, the government itself must ensure that they recognize that there is a lot of income coming from technology. Right now, they use technology just as tool, not as income earner. That is why I was very happy when they created the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy. I was extremely It means that they started thinking of it as an income earner. Believe me honestly, with the way, if we do this right, all the monies that we owe, I'm bold to say, all the monies that we owe, we can pay them all back because technology will bring in a lot of income, a lot of income. And we block all those leakages and all those all fraudulent activities. Let government itself run on technology. A friend of mine used to say, let government deliberately and efficiently run on technology. So there will be transparency and there will be accountability, and that blocks a lot of the loopholes.
Let's talk some more about, the growing threats of cybersecurity now. We are living in the realities. Many homes, many people have fallen victims unwittingly and otherwise. But what are your thoughts really on what government can do, or what stakeholders can do to, eliminate this to the barest minimum?
Yes, to the barest minimum. To eliminate is a very, very difficult thing. We can have a team. We can have a team of techies, and we sit with them. We already have a group of people. We call it a cluster. People who have been in technology for 30 years or a little bit more. But they are grooming younger people. Those younger people, the last time I was there, we talked about legit hackers. We groom them to be able to do and protect and defend Nigeria. To protect and defend Nigeria. It is extremely important, rather than the Yahoo mentality. We have smart people. We have smart people, smart young people all over Nigeria.
Has that cluster taken off?
No, we're still gathering the resources. I do not want to expose it, but we can engage with government. I can discuss with government, 3 or 4 or 5 of us. We'll meet with government, we'll have a round table. We sit down and said, the first thing to do to stop corruption of any type is to ensure people do not need to be corrupt. So if you want the young people to stop hacking, you must give them what to engage them positively and legitimately. And if we're able to groom them and ensure that we have a larger percentage, we can't change everyone overnight.
Absolutely.
You have a larger percentage of them doing the right thing and also protecting Nigeria. I keep emphasizing protecting Nigeria is extremely important. These are our nation, these are our country. There are other countries that have issues with cyber security. In fact, almost every country, even the ones that I never thought had issues, have issues. Where just about 11, Africa is just about 11% in that the countries that are being hacked. But Nigeria is also a very large percentage of that 11%. So we need to take our things seriously. We're a major financial destination. We're a major foreign investment destination. If we do not have, let me say, a clean environment, there will be capital flight. The people will be divesting. So we need to ensure that we put technology in the right perspective for the right reason with the right people, and government can discuss with the cluster. We have a cluster, like I said. We can sit down, discuss. It's not one day's work. It's not even 3 months. We need to come up with papers on every single sphere of technology, in government, in the people, for the people, in education, everywhere.
Now, earlier you spoke about data management, which is very key if we are to progress as a country. What will you be looking at for this government at addressing this issue of data management? Because we have performed poorly with regards to that.
Yes, we have. You're very right, we have. The first thing to do is to have an integration of all data. For example, NIMSI has its own database. BVN is a separate database. NIN, different people. Let us have a central warehouse of databases. For example, a child is born today in this place, Koshove local government. A child is born today. I can track that child till NYC because we are going to have a central database from the hospital where he was born, the nurses and doctors that attended to him, his parents' data, his immunization data. Did he come with different types of illnesses until age of 5? By age of 5, the local government chairman already knows that there are 7,000 children that are going to start primary 1 by so year because he knew when they were born. And so on, up to secondary school, up to university, and so on. With that, in education, you already have data. In health services, you already have data. In population, you already have data. In housing, you already have data because you also know that that child was born into a family of 5 and is maybe the 5th child in that family, meaning that the population has increased and the number of people living in Koshove local government has increased. So you can plan all of that because you are going to have a central data that with my NIN, with anyone's NIN, you can get the full gist
about
that person.
All right, we have to leave the conversation here now. We must thank you, Elder Tunde Oladipo, a tech and digital infrastructure expert and MD CEO, City Grid Technologies Limited, for your time on the program.
Thank you so much.